In the heart of the night, this world will burn bright. We will set it alight. In the heart of the night, in the heart of the night, this world will burn bright. We will set it alight. In the heart of the night.
Hello everyone, I am Anthropomantic Fiend, and I do horror-related things on the internet. Before I get into the review, I would like to thank everyone who was at my live stream last night. Kara, Queenie, Sean, Laura, Ethel, everybody on screen, as well as everybody in the chat. We had a great time watching The Vampire Lovers. It was really fun. Today I'm going to be reviewing Midnight's Child. I believe this is a made-for-TV movie. I forget what year it came out. I will put that below in post. It follows a family who have hired a babysitter housekeeper from Sweden to look after their child while the dad is working on his artwork. He's been commissioned to do artwork for a film. The mother has this big office job that she's off doing. Meanwhile, this man's daughter has gone missing in Sweden, and he's very, very concerned about it, and he thinks that some terrible danger may have occurred involving his daughter. We follow him looking for his daughter. Things gradually get creepier and creepier in the house in the US as we discover that Anna, this girl from Sweden, doesn't really seem to be doing anything wrong, but the relationship with the family seems to be gradually falling apart, and something is just a little bit off. And that feeling just builds as the film progresses. The music in this is probably one of the least notable things about it, but I did really like it. It's very synthy and ethereal sounding. Not especially memorable, but I think it really added to the atmosphere of a lot of the scenes, even if it did feel a little bit plastic and cheesy in places. I thought it worked. The family is kind of slightly awkward and dysfunctional at the beginning of the movie, but it's kind of adorable. The father is really, really forgetful. He'll accidentally burn things in the microwave or leave someone on a phone call. The little girl is playing t-ball in the house despite the fact that she's been repeatedly told not to, and there's just these little quirks to all the characters, and it's not a perfect household that's getting disrupted. There's imperfection to it and there's awkwardness to it, but that adds to the realism and the charm of the family. And the actress who plays Anna is able to play something that is somewhat sinister without really doing anything sinister. She's really, really nice and sweet, and she, for the most part, never breaks that. But there's always some kind of element of distance to her. There's always some kind of sense that she's putting on some kind of facade. I'm not gonna spoil this movie. This is a non-spoiler review. All is revealed. It's not exactly what I thought it was gonna be by the end of the film, but you get the sense that something is off with Anna from the beginning, but she's not sneaking evil grins behind everyone's back. There's just a sense that there's something off about her and that she's not telling the whole truth. She's just a little bit disconnected, and there's a sense that she's putting on a face, and I thought she put that across really, really well. The sets and the costumes and the look of the film are all good in a sort of made-for-TV movie way. They're not super arty or amazing, but the film looks good for what it is. In terms of other visuals, Anna has this book of artwork that she's drawing that is really, really beautiful. It is this fairy tale-esque artwork of a girl who's meeting a prince, and it is this very archetypal, pastoral fairy tale setting to her artwork that she's showing to Chrissy, the little girl in the family, and sort of telling her stories about it. But there is a dark undertone to the artwork as well. That sort of Swedish fairy tale art with undertones of something sinister reminded me a lot of Midsommar. There's also a scene where Chrissy is wearing a flower crown, which also reminded me of that. And the sort of gradually growing distance between two people reminded me a little bit of Midsommar as well. This is not as twisted or as disturbing as Midsommar is, but it had elements of what made Midsommar beautiful and a good film. in it many years prior to what that movie was. The father in the family is also a painter. He's been commissioned to do art for a thriller about a family under siege, which is a nice little meta reference to their situation, and we don't see what it is he's actually been painting until the end of the film when we get a reveal of it. And I was kind of expecting them not to show it, but when we do see it, it's not what you're expecting it to be, and it is very beautiful in a very peculiar way. It's very beautiful, and I really loved his artwork. I want to know who actually painted that because it is gorgeous in a very messed up way. And the final sequence of the film, the finale, incorporates sort of that dark fairy tale imagery in some ways, and there's a lot of candles everywhere and it's very atmospheric. I'm not going to tell you what the context is, but it's a really beautiful setting and my favorite set in the film. With Anna, everything is done really well in terms of her relationship with the family. The dialogue between her and the parents is very awkward at the beginning of the film. It seems like she's not entirely sure what it is that she's supposed to be doing. She's from Sweden, she's not used to the country, and there's this little bit of awkwardness between her and the parents that I think benefits the film in the way that it makes you uncomfortable, and it is drastically different to what we see more and more of with her as the film progresses. Anna, it seems, is gradually sort of forcing herself between all the members of the family, trying to isolate the dad and the little girl Chrissy from the mom and keep everybody apart. We don't really know why, but there is this growing rift between all the members of the family being created by her in really subtle ways that could be played off as her just trying to be nice, and everyone sort of just preferring her over the mom, and the mom growing more and more paranoid. When Anna first arrives, she's like got this look with these really big glasses that make her look a little bit more nerdy or something, and she's a lot more reserved in the way she dresses, and she starts making herself look more and more conventionally attractive as the film progresses. She lets her hair down, and she's wearing more and more makeup and these slightly flashier outfits. The mom starts getting a sense that she might be having an affair with her husband, and we just never know if that's actually happening. The film just plays with that idea that that might be what's going on in really subtle ways just with her costume, which I appreciated. The one thing I didn't really care for about the story is that there are these little sort of flashes. They're not flashbacks, but they're little flashes of other scenes that are actually later in the film that create this sense of foreboding because there's something not quite right about those scenes. But these flashbacks don't really belong to a particular person. Some of the flashbacks are from a dream sequence that belongs to one character, and yet you'll see them in a scene that does not include that character. And again, they're from scenes later in the film, so they're kind of confusing. It's not clear who they belong to or what they're trying to say. It did create this sense of, oh god, there's something off here, but that is also kind of created by the film in general. It created intrigue, but it was really confusing. I think that is actually all I have to say about the film this time around. If you like more thriller-oriented films with a slightly dark, potentially occult twist to them, I think you will enjoy this movie. It's not perfect, its made-for-TV-ness definitely shows, but I personally really like it, and I highly recommend giving it a watch. So that is my review of Midnight's Child. Thank you for watching my video, and hopefully I will see you in another one. Bye!